What's going on, everybody? Cleopus Tech here, coming back at you with another video. In this video, I'm going to be giving you 5 reasons why you should buy the OnePlus Nord N300 5G. Now, in case you end up wanting to learn more about this phone, definitely check out the description, where I will be linking to several other videos about it, as well as some information about pricing, availability, and some of my favorite smartphone accessories. But with that being said, let's get right into it. So my first reason why you should buy the OnePlus Nord N300 5G is the battery. Now with this phone, we're getting a 5000 mAh battery that supports 33 watt fast charging. So in pretty much every way, this is a really awesome battery. First of all, at 5000 mAh, of course, this is a really large battery. In the US at least, it's pretty much the largest battery you can get in a phone. So if you are looking for a phone that has really good battery life, this phone is going to be a great choice. Getting a phone like this that has such a large battery is an especially good choice if you're in a situation where maybe you're not always around a charger, but you still have to use your phone all day. In that kind of situation, I definitely recommend getting something like this, because compared to a phone that has a much smaller battery, the battery life we're getting with this phone is going to be quite a bit better. In addition to this, with such a large battery, not only is the battery life per charge going to be good, but down the road, as the battery degrades, which all batteries do, with a larger battery, you're not going to notice it nearly as quickly as a smaller battery. So if you like to get one phone and keep it for a longer time, then this is also going to be a good thing. And in addition to having a large battery, with the OnePlus Nord N300 5G compared to pretty much any other phone in the price range, and even much higher end phones for that matter, with 33 watt fast charging, the charging speed with this phone is also going to be really good. And not only this, but as you can see here, the OnePlus Nord N300 5G also does come with a 33 watt fast charger, and this is definitely impressive considering in this day and age, I want to say the vast majority of phones nowadays don't even come with a wall adapter at all, let alone a fast charger this strong. So this is going to allow you to take full advantage of the fast charging right away, so you don't even have to go get a fast charger yourself. So in general, if you're looking for a phone that has a really good battery, the OnePlus Nord N300 5G is going to be a great choice. Now my second reason to buy the OnePlus Nord N300 5G is the processor. So with the OnePlus Nord N300 5G, we're getting 4GB of RAM with the MediaTek Dimensity 810 processor. First of all, as the name suggests, of course, this is a 5G phone, and at this point in 2023, while I don't think it's absolutely necessary to get 5G yet, I do think it is a good idea, especially if you're planning on keeping your phone for a longer period of time. Because at this point, while 4G really isn't going to be going away anytime soon, 5G is really only going to expand from here. So if you really want to get something to keep for a long time, then getting a 5G phone to future-proof things is definitely a good idea. And in addition to just being a 5G phone, for what it is, keep in mind this phone is barely over $200, and with the deals being offered by carriers, chances are you might not even pay that for it. But despite this really entry-level price tag, the OnePlus Nord N300 5G for what it is actually pretty fast. Sure, compared to a much more expensive phone, it's not going to be quite fast enough to do super demanding activities like high-performance mobile gaming, for example, but for more average activities like web browsing, social media, things like that, it will absolutely get the job done. It definitely won't feel slow, and I feel like for most people, you will get a pretty good experience. Now, I did run a benchmark test on this phone using Geekbench 5, and here are the scores I got. Now, unless you're really familiar with this test, this may or may not mean a whole lot to you. So what I recommend doing is running it on your current phone and then comparing your results to these, and that's going to give you a better idea of where this phone stands in comparison. Because while, again, I do think the performance we're getting here is actually really good, depending on your current device, it may or may not actually be a performance upgrade. But overall, I would say if you're looking for an affordable entry-level 5G phone and you want to make sure the performance is at least decently fast, then compared to other phones like it, I do think the OnePlus Nord N300 5G will be one of the better options. My third reason why you should buy the OnePlus Nord N300 5G is the high quality camera. Now with this phone, on one hand, when it comes to actual camera features, this phone actually really doesn't have a whole lot. Up front, we got a water drop notch for the front facing camera. This camera is 16 megapixels. Then on the back, we got a dual camera setup with a 48 megapixel main camera and a 2 megapixel depth sensing camera. So again, as you can see there, when it comes to features, there's really not a whole lot here. So if you're looking for something that has an ultra wide camera, macro camera, stuff like that, then yeah, unfortunately, this is probably not going to be the best choice for you. But that being said, when it comes to regular pictures, I do think the photo quality from this phone actually really makes up for this. To give you an idea of what it can do, here's some pictures taken with the main camera. And I definitely think that for a really entry-level phone like this, the quality is really impressive. The details look really nice, the lighting is super accurate, and the colors also look really good. And I also want to point out that especially with portrait mode, the pictures really do come out good. So if you're taking a lot of pictures for like social media, for example, especially for stuff like Instagram where you might be using portrait mode a bit more, I do think for that kind of use, although this phone unfortunately doesn't have the ultra-wide camera and macro camera that you typically find in phones like this, if you are just taking more regular photos, I do think compared to most phones in this price range, the photo quality we get with the OnePlus Nord N300 5G using both the regular camera and portrait mode is really among the best when it comes to entry-level phones. My fourth reason why you should buy the OnePlus Nord N300 5G is because it has NFC. Now, in case you don't know what it is, NFC is basically the main technology behind contactless mobile payment services, so if you like to use tap and pay, to do that, you will need a phone with NFC. Now, on one hand, at this point in 2023, I want to say the vast majority of phones, even below this price range, have NFC, but with Metro and T-Mobile, which as of the recording of this video at least, are the only two carriers that actually offer this phone, there are phones like the T-Mobile Revel 6 5G, for example, that while being pretty much in this phone's price range, for whatever reason, don't have NFC. So in general, while NFC is becoming more and more popular, even in lower end phones, at this point in time, having it in an entry-level phone is still not guaranteed. So if you are looking for a more affordable phone, but you want to make sure you can use tap and pay, then keep in mind again, the OnePlus Nord N300 5G does have it, so you won't have to worry about that. And finally, my fifth reason why you should buy the OnePlus Nord N300 5G is the materials. Now with this phone, when it comes to aesthetics and the overall design, while it definitely doesn't look bad by any means, I feel like it's kind of a mediocre design, especially by OnePlus standards. There are phones like the OnePlus Nord N200 5G, for example, the predecessor to this one, that in my opinion look a lot nicer and more modern. If I can remember right, the N200 actually had a hole punch front-facing camera, whereas with the N300, for whatever reason, OnePlus did decide to bring back the water drop notch, which I'm not really a big fan of. It just doesn't look nearly as nice. And this phone also does have a slightly thicker bottom bezel, so in general, while I definitely don't think it looks bad, in fact, compared to most phones in this price range, and even some phones that are like double the price for that matter, it does still look decently good. But all the same, I feel like the design really isn't OnePlus's best work. But despite this, back to my original point, when it comes to the actual materials, although this phone technically still is made entirely of plastic except the display, it is really high quality plastic that not only feels really solid, but actually feels kind of premium. In addition to this, the build quality in general is really good, the buttons are solid, the phone itself feels well made, and it also does have a decent amount of weight to it too. So in general, if you're looking for a more affordable phone and you're not necessarily concerned with aesthetics per se, but you do want good build quality, sturdy materials, and an overall more premium feel, then in that case, I do think the OnePlus Nord N300 5G, especially when compared to other entry-level phones, is definitely going to be a great choice. But those were my 5 reasons why you should buy the OnePlus Nord N300 5G. In general, for what it is, I do think this is a great device and I'm actually really enjoying it so far. But as always, if you want to learn more about it, definitely check out the description, where we'll be linking to several other videos about it, as well as some information about pricing, availability, and some of my favorite smartphone accessories. But that's it for this video. If you enjoyed it and found it useful, be sure to give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to follow Cleepus Tech on Twitter and Instagram. And as always, I will see you in the next video.